Sources inside the Georgia football program tell me that this Georgia Bulldog is, quote, out for blood in 2025. Of course, my ears perked up. I'm saying, who we talking about, coach? Who we talking about? Wide receiver Dillon Bell. That's who we're talking about. This is a guy who is coming off, or not coming off of. He had a really good 2023 season in year two. And it's safe to say he did not play as well in 2024. I don't want to say he took a step back, but he sure didn't take a step forward. Now, this dude's out for blood. He knows that he did not end the season as well as he wanted to. It wasn't a terrible season. He did catch 43 passes for 466 yards and 4 touchdowns, and I believe he had a big 2-point conversion against Georgia Tech. But Georgia fans aren't going to remember that. And if you ask Dillon Bell, I'm sure he'd say, you know what, I don't remember those either. It's the drops that people are going to remember. And the big one, unfortunately for Dillon Bell, happened at the end of the year against Notre Dame in the playoff, in the Sugar Bowl, on a beautiful deep ball by Gunnar Stockton. Hit him right in the hands. Couldn't come up with it. Should have been a touchdown. Should have changed the game. Instead, it was kind of a nutshell of the entire season, right? Drop after drop after drop from Georgia's wide receivers. And Dillon Bell's better than that. We've seen him play a lot better than he did last year. And again, he's not a bad football player at all. But what he does best is not, securing the football and reeling it in, right? What he does best is what he does before the catch and after the catch. He's an above-average route runner who can get open on his own. There's a reason Stetson Bennett wanted Dillon Bell, who was a freshman at the time, running routes for Pro Day. It's because the guy knows what he's doing. He can get open. He can be, quick and twitchy. And, just ask Alabama. He was tough to cover for them, especially down the field. And once he has the ball, dude's a running back, right? He is a weapon that they probably need to use a little bit more in the running game. But the drops are there, and I've been hearing behind the scenes from people around the program that he's working hard. He is out for blood. He wants to have a big 2025 season, but it's not going to be easy, right? As good as he was in 2023, again, it wasn't great last year, but now it's a money year. 2025 is a big one for Dillon Bell. This is year 4, right? And after a season that was kind of up and down, right? Kind of a roller coaster, had some drops, including, that big one against Notre Dame. He sees Kirby Smart and James Coley go into the portal and grab 2 of the best wide receivers available. If you're an experienced veteran, of course that's not going to sit well with you. And I'm sure Dillon Bell wasn't thinking, yes, more competition for me to get targets in 2025 in my last year, right? I'm the veteran, and now they're bringing in these guys that I got to compete against. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's a team game. It's about the team. It's about winning no matter what. But these individual players, especially these wide receivers, you want to play at the next level, you need tape. You need to go and catch passes and make big plays. And he's done that in the past, right? The big touchdown against Alabama, phenomenal. He also had a rushing touchdown, I believe, in that game, right? Georgia fans are going to forget about that, but the NFL coaches and GMs, that's still tape that they can go off of. And, as inconsistent as his hands were, I think he had like 6 drops. I think that was the number. But it's tough to define what a drop is. Is a drop a tough catch that's not reeled in, or is a drop every time a ball goes through your hands, hits you in the chest, and then on the ground, right? There weren't a ton of those, right? Arian Smith had a lot of those. I think Dillon Bell had just some balls that he couldn't reel in. I think there was one, I guess it was the first interception Carson Beck threw in Austin against Texas. That one, I think, not an easy catch, but it went off his hands, and I think it was intercepted. I may be remembering that wrong, but those were catches he was making in 2023. I think against Georgia Tech and against Florida State, dude was making some unreal catches on the sidelines, and that's a big reason why I thought he would take a big step forward. And again, the numbers were better from a receiving standpoint. He had more catches and more yards than he did in 2023, but it's the rushing yards that went down. He ran for 157 yards on 25 carries with 2 touchdowns in 2023, adding a touchdown pass against Tennessee and Knoxville. So, the guy's a weapon. He can do a lot for you. Last year, he only carried the ball for 107 yards and 1 touchdown on 9 carries. So when he carried the ball, it was a success. He had a 27-yard run against Clemson, a 33-yard run against the Gators, an 18-yard run against Auburn. I mean, he is a good athlete, and he's tough to tackle. He can break tackles after the catch. But at some point, his best football is when you just turn around and hand it to him, right? He is a better player than I think what we saw from him at times last year. And, I'll say it. I'll give him some credit here. Of his 43 catches, they weren't all hitting him right in the hands and right in the chest. There were plenty of passes where he had to kind of reach above his head to secure a pass or, catch one close to the ground, right? But he's a weapon in the slant game. He's a weapon in the screen game. And he showed, especially against Alabama, that, he can hit a defensive back with a double move and be left wide open down the field. He was wide open against Notre Dame, just didn't secure that one in the biggest moment of the season at that point. And that sticks with him. I know that's in the back of his mind, and I know that he wants to come out and have a much better season in 2025, not just for him, but for the team and for his NFL draft stock, right? So, but it's not going to be any easier. I mean, they've got a lot of receivers. Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, those guys are coming in to make an impact. They're coming in to play and play early. I think Dylan Bell's probably their number 3. I think Colby Young, when he returns, that's probably your number 4. And then you've got guys after them who they're not trying to sit on the bench. Nitro Tuckle came back for a reason, right? And if Nitro Tuckle doesn't get his touches, he's gone to the portal after the end of next year, right? He had one foot in the portal basically already. He came because he wants the football. Sokovie White, that's a young kid who is playing well behind the scenes, hearing a lot about. He can be a weapon too. That's a guy who wants to catch. And again, Dallin Taylor is going to play as a freshman. He is too good. I made a video about him. I'm not backing down from that. That kid is electric. He is a 5-star for a reason. There's a lot to like about what he brings to the table. And I think he is going to play in some capacity next year. And I think CJ Wiley's not far off either. So they brought in an outstanding group of 5 wide receivers in the recruiting class. London Humphreys is still around. So there's a lot of guys in that room. And if you're Dylan Bell coming off a season that there were points where you'd like to forget, you want to come back strong. And I have been told he's working hard. He is determined. He's out for blood. And he's ready to show everyone, hey, I am a good, reliable, dependable receiver and one of the best in the SEC. I thought he could be that last year, but the hands are just too inconsistent. I love what he brings to the table outside of that, his versatility. When he's got the ball, he's going to make plays. And he is faster than I think people realize, but he's tough to tackle. So, if I'm Georgia, especially depending on what the running back room looks like, if it's still a banged up group, and Dylan Bell probably needs to be running the ball a little more. So his carries went down last year. His receptions went up. And a lot of that is due to, needs of the position and how they become a better team, where to use him. But he knows that this is a massive, massive year for him. He wants to come back strong. And I keep hearing that, hey, don't sleep on Dylan Bell. I know he dropped that big one against Notre Dame. I know he had 6, 7 drops, whatever the number may be. People remember it wasn't his best year. Dude's out for blood, okay? He is coming. He's ready to play with a chip on his shoulder. If he didn't have one before, he's got one now. Because, again, he's a veteran. This was his team. This was his room. And then they go out and get 2 guys who might be their starters, right? And he doesn't play the exact position that Noah Thomas does. There's Zachariah Branch. He has played on the outside. He's also played in the slot. Mike Bobo's job is to get creative with these guys. So they don't play the exact same position, but I don't know if Dylan Bell's going to be leading the team in receptions and yards. He could come close to it. I expect him to have an impactful year and, be a weapon for this offense. They need him to be. They need him to be 2023 Dylan Bell and better. Dylan Bell 2.0. That's what they need. And I'm hearing he's working hard towards it. Now, it's early. I mean, it's just February. But if he can stay healthy, because he was battling some injuries last year, I have to say that. I think he was pretty banged up against Tennessee, and going into that Georgia Tech game, he wasn't 100%. I'm not sure how much of the season he was 100%. No one really is. No one's 100% all throughout the season, right? Everyone goes through injuries here and there, and Dylan Bell was absolutely, part of that. He had to fight through, some nagging injuries, but he did make plays. Those plays may be forgotten about because people just remember the drops, especially last year when everyone was dropping the ball. But I think he is bound for a bounce back year, and you can read all of this over on Dawg Post. But just one guy that I'm hearing about early as a guy that said, hey, don't sleep on him. He's coming back with a vengeance. This guy's got a chip on his shoulder. He's out for blood in 2025. So I think that's really good news for Georgia fans. And if he can improve on that 2024 season and be 2023 Dillon Bell and better, that is massive, massive news for this Georgia offense. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. You can, again, read more about this over on Dawg Post in an expanded form. So make sure you're doing that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video, and I'll see you on the website.